finding the right contractor to work with is essential. These days, that can be difficult. We've got an expert here to show us how to do it. Stay tuned. Welcome everyone to Your Little Castle Show, where we bring in experts to help us as consumers figure out the best way to manage our lives, to build our own little castle. And just about everybody now, they have their little domain, their area where they live and reside and take care of the family. And so we're bringing in experts to help us. This is an interesting show we've got here today for you, everybody, because FREEthR, did I say that right?
You did.
Home Advocacy Solutions, kind of a new concept. It's a similar concept that's been out there in other industries, but you're bringing it to the contractor construction industry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, this is, I don't know of anyone or any company doing anything like this. Yeah, so it's a whole new take on this.
Well, welcome our guest here, Pete Labath. We met him at an event here recently, and we said, hey, we like your concept here. I send Dawn out to try to find good business savvy people to talk to us about what's going on in the world. And thanks for joining us in the studio.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
With that, we'll give a shout out to our sponsors here, Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle. And many of us do have a castle, obviously, that we are working on. And maybe you've had some furniture supplied by Carroll House Furniture. They've been around, I think it's 50-something years.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, a long, long time. And that castle might now have been updated, built, constructed with a crew from our guest here. There we go. I'll put that up on the screen for everybody. FREEthR, Home Advocacy, and Pete, there it is, Labath, and his crew. So a great concept. I really like this. Let's get what is it that led you here? When did you decide? Hey, I think I've got an idea.
Yeah.
A little risky to go out and doing your own thing, but it's working out well. Looks good.
Yeah, we're trying. So how did I get here? It was really, I think the most honest thing is that it was an aha moment, just kind of thinking, through some different ideas. And this occurred to me that it seemed like it might be an opportunity really to help people in a lot of different situations, whether they're the homeowner, investors, commercial property owners, but also want to help the contractors, I think, that are local. There's a lot of really good contractors that I think a lot of homeowners aren't going to hear about, aren't going to know about, because they don't have a huge marketing budget. They don't have the salesmen out there. And so we want an opportunity to help them as well, to get in front of more people and do that good work for them.
Yeah, well, I like the concept, because I was like, how often is it, we're kind of doing this, we're helping smaller business owners in general, but how often they do great work, but they don't spend $30,000 a week on advertising, and so you don't hear about them, but they will do a better job for you than some of the big guys. Big guys love them, and maybe I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here, because they might want to be a sponsor, but a lot of times those guys are so big, it's just kind of a cookie cutter, slap it together. The guy who's doing the work for you has been in the industry for 6 weeks of training, and are they going to really do the job that you want? But you vet these guys, you know who they are, and you're going to work with them. Give me a little bit more about the path that led here, so that because you've got a history in doing the work or being part of a company who did the work.
Yes. And
then also doing mortgages. I mean, you kind of anything to do with the house. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so it's, how can I, so it's really, I started many years ago. I was working with a company that did basement waterproofing, the foundation repairs, and so I saw that side of it. They're a larger company, and nothing negative to say, but they're just a larger company, and as you said, maybe a little more cookie cutter with their approach, but they have a significant amount of ad spend and marketing. And there were guys that I worked with there that have gone on to start their own companies, and I've had them do, actually one guy in particular done several jobs for me. He does great work. But if I didn't personally know him, he wouldn't have done the work for me. I'd had no idea there's this guy that does the work, incredible background, and marginal percentage of the cost. So it helps me as I work on projects, as I work on my home, to be able to stretch my money to go further and get more work done.
Okay, yeah. This particular business has been around. This business itself, you started this year.
Yes, yeah. So about 10 minutes ago. No, back a little earlier this year in June we got started. Yes.
But you've been doing it, like you said, in this space for over a decade.
Yeah,
really
in one
I'm
form
sure.
or another. Yeah, absolutely. Between some of the basement work, I spent some years not only working on some of my own properties, but as a loan officer, and that I think contributed to the idea as well. Being familiar with some of the the lead aggregators, the Lending Tree, for example, where they have a similar model where they put you in front of multiple lenders, but you still, as a homeowner, as a consumer, you still end up needing to talk to multiple people, getting a lot of phone calls. And so I felt, how can we make it better with the home services? And that's kind of the genesis of this. Is I felt like we can come in, get all the information that a consultant would in that case, and then give it to the contractors to review and put some really good faith estimates together, and ends up being just the proposal. And the homeowners don't have to take a lot of time out of their day. Their children don't have to take time out of their day to meet with the contractors and the salesmen, and allow them an opportunity to review on their own time, at their leisure, and pick the bid, the proposal, where the time, the cost, the materials makes the most sense for them.
Interesting. Tell me, how is it then? Give me a little bit about the vetting process. How do you meet your prospects? I don't know. I've heard there's 800 roofing companies in St. Louis.
At least, yeah.
And then you get into people they do remodeling, kitchen, bath. Then people do basements, decks. How do you meet these people, and how do you vet them?
So in the beginning, the very first people I spoke with were, of course, people that I knew, that I've worked with over the years, whether they've done work for me, whether we have worked together, as I said, in that industry. And so I've been fortunate to know and work with. I've also been unfortunate, which kind of contributed to this as well, and have worked with some people that I was not very happy with, that didn't work out. And so, I've focused on the small businesses, the guys that I worked with, that I knew personally, and the network kind of grew from there. It's been referrals from them, referrals from friends and family. And so when we go to vet them, we want to at least set a bare minimum bar. We want to ensure that when we give homeowners a number of proposals, that at a minimum these people are all properly insured. If they're plumbers and electricians, for example, they have the appropriate licenses. They're in good standing with the state. The homeowner's not going to have to worry about any surprise liens or issues. And then it's a matter of kind of looking into each company a little bit and ensuring they're doing what they say they are.
Yeah, it's definitely. This is something that is a great benefit to the average home owner, because they see the Google reviews and they see what has been put on their social media, etc. But how do you really know behind the scenes what they're about and how they handle their business? And that's where you got to go with it. If a company's been around 10 or 15 years, then maybe there's something to be said for that. But how often are there startups? And we all are so in fear of, oh, here's my down payment, and then they disappear.
Yes.
But you're in position to help keep that all from happening, and you make sure that these are quality people.
Absolutely. There are pages and pages. There's Facebook pages. There's any number of websites that will tell just horror stories, things that have happened. And while maybe we can't catch every single thing that could possibly happen, I think we do the best we can to make sure that these people have consistently stepped up and done what they said they were going to do. That when issues happen, because there's surprises, sometimes things happen, we want to make sure these are companies that do the right thing and take care of their customers as best they can.
Well, that's very valuable, because, as I say, I've been on both sides of that, and people that had come through, and I had an instance, I won't name names, of course, where they were set on that they were going to replace my roof, and then I started working through some of their process, and I was like, I'm not sure I want you guys to do this. But if you don't have, if you sign a contract and you're already involved, you could be stuck, and
Yes.
then you got to deal with the repercussions there. But you're making sure that they're getting great quality people, and many of these people personally. You've worked with them for many years, and then you can say, hey, you can count on these guys. We've vetted them, and
Absolutely.
they're in a position to do this.
And one of our goals going forward is that as time goes on, we're going to continually clean up the list. We're going to make sure more and more of a curated list that if things happen, we want to make sure that, as opposed to, and not to, pick on Google, but at the end of the day, you can buy and have people write Google reviews. Like, you can get Google reviews whether or not they did the work. What we can do is make sure that as we build reviews, as we build a picture of each company, that these are true customers. These are people they've worked with. This isn't friends and family of the owner or the salesman. And we want to make sure that when we say that this company consistently does what they said they're going to do for the price, that that's the truth, that it's not paid reviews that's going to surprise you in the end.
Yeah, that's good to know, because how often we find out that things, and it's okay to pay for things if you've done so, but if they don't disclose those kinds of things, or they to let people know, hey, put it in writing somewhere to acknowledge, there's a bias here. Now, when you get into like websites and those kinds of things, those are things being paid for too.
Things get a little a little different.
Yeah, you might have to contend with some of that. But tell me then, what is it about this with regard to your passion that you enjoy about this now?
For me, a lot of it probably really goes back to when I was very young, growing up in the 80s, down the road almost. My parents are deaf, very hard of hearing. And so whenever they needed to meet with a contractor, even, for many years, things are a lot better now, of course, but if they needed to meet with a contractor or there was a salesman coming to the house, like, I would have to be there. I would have to come meet with them as well. I would have to take time out, whether I was younger or when I, had moved out. It was very hard for them to deal with these interactions, being pressured, being sold, without someone there to help them and kind of be a buffer. And so that's one of the things that means most to me, is being able to go into someone's house and have no intention. We're not going to sell them anything. We're not leaning one way or the other. We're simply there to gather information, and we can send that information to the subject matter experts. If we're talking about a roof, we send obviously to those particular people that can say, this is what it will cost to solve that problem. This is our time frame. And there's no pressure on the homeowner, there's no pressure on their children, there's no pressure on anyone. Simply at their leisure, they can review it calmly and look at the materials, the timeline, the price, and make sure that this is the best fit for them.
Yeah, if there's some discrepancy with regard to price, that's something that you're going to help facilitate to make sure that they're not getting taken advantage of.
Absolutely. We're not acting in a general contractor capacity as much as truly as an advocate for the homeowner. So if there are questions, we want to make sure that everything's in writing, the scope is accurate, and if there's changes, that it's very clear to everyone involved why. Like, what happened, what was different, there was a surprise that no one could foresee, like, that's going to have to be understandable. But we want to make sure that these aren't just random, we've decided it's going to cost twice as much now, and we want to be there to help the homeowners navigate those issues and prevent them up front, frankly.
Yeah, and we all are familiar with the sales tactic. If you sign today,
yes,
we'll give you that extra 10% off or whatever it is, and they've already marked it up 50%.
Yes.
So, but you can help circumvent that. You're taking this pushy salesman out of the equation.
And that is a big part of it, is taking that sales pressure out. When we come to homeowners with these proposals, that is, each contractor's, they're putting their best foot forward, like right then, right there. There's no, sign today and save an extra couple bucks. It's, this is a fair price for the work that we're offering, at whatever this particular scope is. And, because I don't think you see those pressures, that kind of attitude from the quality local contractor, because they're not trying to force anybody into anything. They're not, it's just what it is. And so we can give them the freedom to review it on their time.
That's critical, because so many people, how would somebody become an expert with this in 15 minutes of a presentation?
Right.
They're not going to understand everything that's being thrown at them, especially those, and we've heard the horror stories of taking advantage of the elderly.
Yes.
And people that just, this is not something that's in their wheelhouse. So these slick sales guys come through, you're circumventing all of that.
And that's the goal, absolutely, because I think the worst, theoretically worst company can hire a great salesman that can put on a great presentation, And that presentation is in no way indicative of the final product. You know, we want to say these are the final products, these are the people we've looked at, and unlike other, because there's nobody that does this, but similar, you know, lead aggregators, you know, we're not just selling your information, sending telemarketers and everyone else after you. You know, we're not sharing a homeowner's personal information. We're simply giving a zip code, so you're not going to get blown up by phone calls. You're not going to start, you know, people showing up at your door with, you know, we'd like to talk to you.
Very cool. All right. With that, we've got a lot of fun. We've engaged in the community. We've got reflect here on my buddy Nino, as we are down at Busch Stadium for a lot of the fun that we do there. Stay tuned. Check out what we did with Nino here. Check it out.
Hey everybody, guess what? We get to have fun all the time at the Cardinal games. Before the game, we get to hang out with fun super fans. Say hello to my buddy Nino over here. Brett, Tanya, and Dixie. That's right. Everybody's in the video here. Family coming out to the game. Nino, what do you love about going to Cardinal games?
You love baseball?
Yeah. Yeah. He loves baseball. Hey, all right, scoring points with the Cardinal Cowboy.
Yeah, he plays Miracle League baseball.
Do you really?
And he likes to be on the Cardinals team at home.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know how many times have you been on that team? How many times have you done that?
A lot.
A lot.
That's a good answer. All right. Dad, what's it like coming to the Cardinal games with your son and your wife and all the fun you get to have down here?
Oh, it's the most fun. I mean, we've been coming since Old Busch. You know, now we've got New Busch Stadium. It's the best baseball town, and it's the most fun. You know, it's fun before the game. The games are always great, and we love it.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking time here. We're at Patios, everybody. This is where the most fun is. I get to wear the full outfit here. I got the pants, the socks, the arch, Nino, Brett, Tanya, and Dixie all here, and we're outside Patios having fun. Hey, say hi to Patios. Stop on by here before a Cardinal game, and we'll see you guys soon. Nino, give me some knuckles. There we go. Go Cardinals. Giddy up.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey everybody, Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know, I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team.
scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up!
So just a little bit of the fun we get to partake in the community, and we've been doing this stuff for so long. I'm gonna start pulling up some old vintage videos out there. We've got a lot of fun stuff we've done. Cardinal Cowboy doing this 20 plus years now, close to 25, and it's just been a lot of fun engaging the community and then getting to know a lot of the business leaders in our little corner of the world here that are making a difference. And we got people coming in from all over the world now. We've had people zoom in from LA and New York and Tulsa and Chicago. People fly down here to be here from Florida and Chicago and among other places. And so it's just turned into be a lot of fun. But tell me this, give me a little, I call this the cost analysis, but what is it you're really helping? You're helping people so that they don't end up spending an exorbitant amount of money.
Right.
So the advantage you bring is that there's going to be somebody, you kind of got a scope, a handle on. You've got vendors, if you will, contractors you work with on a regular basis. They're going to make sure you know that they're not going to gouge somebody.
Right.
And it also allows them to not have to deal with meeting with all of them individually face to face. You're going to help kind of vet the best fit for the client.
Absolutely. So for the cost, the goal is to save a homeowner money where possible, because it's not always about the cheapest, the lowest price. Sometimes it's the quality of the material and the workmanship, and you get an opportunity to compare these things. But price-wise, by giving someone 3 to 5 bids from local quality contractors, you can get a true range of costs. Like get a real idea and feel confident that you've made the right choice for you, whether that's based purely financial, the time frame, your schedule, or the materials that they're using. But another important savings is the time and the stress, the effort that goes into meeting with this many people, to meet with 3 to 5 contractors, to take that much time out of your days and weeks to meet and collect these proposals. I think that's a significant, important savings as well, where it's not purely financial, but just the time and stress that someone has to go through.
Yeah, just by virtue of seeing knowing the process, and for what many people have to deal with, and if it's something that's not in their wheelhouse, these guys, they love the one-time close, right?
Absolutely.
Come in, sit down, give you a little spiel, and say, buy this right now, and if you don't buy right now, you're going to miss out. But that price is very often inflated and not the best for them. And then when they were to have some competitors, like, because you're going to bring a couple through other 3 to 5 on average,
yes, that's cool.
They're going to see, hey, oh, well, look, here's the difference. Here's why they're charging more, and here's why they're charging less, and the quality, and like you said, those are all variables that people need to be informed about.
Absolutely. Anecdotally, as I was coming up with this, as I was fleshing out the idea and trying to confirm for myself that this was a valuable service for the community, I spoke with a really good friend of mine, his father actually, who I grew up, I spent, many dinners at their kitchen table. His mom was an excellent cook. And a great woman. I might stop by there and eat dinner tonight if I can. But I called him and asked him what he thought about this, and he said, by way of an answer, he says, Pete, I redid my kitchen this past year, and I wanted to get it done, and so we did this, and I wanted 3 bids so that I can compare and make sure I'm getting a great deal, getting the right price. And he says, I called 3 guys, had 3 appointments, and only 2 of them showed up. And of the 2 that showed up, only 1 of them bothered to send me a proposal. So in the end, he got the work, but not because I have no idea. He says, I have no idea if I got a great price, if I got a terrible price, if it's somewhere, I have absolutely no idea. By default, this is the guy that showed up and then ended up sending me a proposal, so he got the work. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Like that's a terrible feeling, to spend that much money on your, where you live, your home, your castle, and not feel like, wow, I did the best I could. You have absolutely no idea. And that's, how can you feel about that? And I want to help other people not have that feeling.
Yeah, when it boiled down to it, they had 1 bid.
They had 1 bid. That's who we got.
So hopefully it was a good one. Yeah, but you're actually bringing them to the table. These are people you work with consistently.
Yes.
And you know that they can be counted on.
Absolutely.
And they're not going to gouge or take advantage. So that saves people a lot of just peace of mind right there. And it probably saves them some money on top of it, along with the aggravation and dealing, making sure they've got the good quality to finish up a good job. That's important. Well, tell me, obviously there's pretty apparent reasons why somebody should choose you, but if I was just the average consumer walking in off the street, tell me, what's the biggest benefit that you bring to summarize for somebody that helps people understand why they should use you versus going out into the wild and doing this themselves?
Sure. I think, the two points I'll always, beat on really is the price, the dollars, the actual, at the end of the day, the bottom line, how much are you spending? And, you know, we've got some contractors that we work with that are historically custom home builders. Like, they're super high end, like that's what they do. There's nothing wrong with that. They do great work at a very high level. And if that's what you're trying to do, great, we can help you get there. If you're a little more budget conscious, we have contractors that are more focused there. And so you can confidently know you've seen a range of prices, and this is the choice that you make, you're making very well informed. And so whatever dollar amount you're spending, you're confident you got the most that you were going to get for that money. And then the second is always going to be that time. Time is money, time is stress, time is pressure, time is so many things to so many people. And we can give you, I mean, if an average appointment is going to be a minimum 1 hour that someone's leaning on you, that someone's telling you that their product is better than the other guy's product. Every appointment it's an hour for each project, for each person. You know, you got one project, you're going to spend 4 to 5 to 6 hours just meeting people. We can cut all that out. You're not going to spend any time. You're going to let us take a look, get the measurements, and you're going to review on your time without the pressure.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense for people to understand. Contractors, I would assume that if you're interested in boosting your business, you don't have a large marketing budget, might team up with you. You'll vet
absolutely.
them.
We'd love to talk with them, yeah.
See if they fit for what you're trying to do. We've had a few hundred contractors on the show here. Maybe I can share some names with you. But bottom line is, it's a great joy and a benefit for most people when they get to work with the small business owners, especially those guys who aren't the big behemoths.
Right.
And they blow you away. I've got 47 text messages and emails and pop-up ads and everything coming at me. These are guys who are off the radar, essentially, but they've been doing this for a long time. They've consistently produced good quality.
Absolutely.
They just don't advertise like everyone else does. And these days, smaller guys get pushed out because there's so many forms now. Even the smaller people can't advertise. This puts some light on them.
Yeah, absolutely. When you start talking about some of these really big companies, they're spending a huge amount of money on Google and on the billboards and a lot of other places. They may have used to have been local, but they were bought by the out-of-state, some private equity, these money, you know, people that are buying small businesses, maintaining those names. But a lot of times, unfortunately, you know, those families are no longer have anything to do with the business. They're simply out-of-state companies that are taking a lot of money. And so there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of great companies, their kids go to school with your kids or your grandkids. You know, they pay taxes in the community, they shop at the local stores, they're buying products locally. The guys that work for them live in your community, they live down the road. You know, these are the people that you're unfortunately probably not going to call because you don't know about them. You know, they're not spending the money to be at the top of the Google list. And so we want to bring these quality contractors, give them an opportunity to help more homeowners.
There it is, everybody. We're going to have Pete stick around for another half hour. Hope you'll learn a lot here. Watch that second half hour show we're going to record in just a minute. Stay tuned. Giddy up.